Welcome, Gemini, to your in-depth weekly forecast for week commencing the 18th of March for the Ascendant, the Sun or the Moon. Late last week there was a quarter moon in your sign. Quarter moons last for a week, and because it occurred on Sunday, it's the dominant influence as you come into this new week. But it's squared up, not just with the Sun, a quarter moon is a 90-degree angle between the two, but also with Neptune. Neptune squaring the moon can create distortion, but the combination between the Sun and Neptune can be a very positive thing if you work in a creative way, you're a healer, you're in an environment where you can shape things through your senses. If you're in a much harsher worldly connection, perhaps in a corporate structure, and you're really expected to follow the edicts of the management to the letter, and there's not much flexibility, you could find the whole situation quite oppressive as this week begins, because the moon in your sign is asking you to find your voice, to articulate the things that make you an individual. The 10th house is where we have to conform to what's expected, but it can see us attain physical prizes. Now, as this week goes on, Wednesday brings the spring equinox, and it's really exciting because the Sun moves into Aries to begin the whole Western tropical cycle again, but in so doing, it's playing catch up with your ruler Mercury, the North Node, and Chiron. So the 11th house is about your long-term hopes, it's about your friendships, your social interaction, and where you network. And that is an area that can really start to shape up. It's possible that if you have been a little bit dissatisfied with your work, or your goals and ambitions have not been very fulfilling, the move of the Sun into Aries and its link to Pluto, the planet of transformation, suggests that you may want to download new knowledge, go on a course, retrain, even go back to an academic environment if it helps you to give you a wider opportunity to make progress. But equally, as the week goes on, Venus in the 10th house, which is suggesting that your diplomacy and people skills, very strong often, if they're applied in a very steadfast way, can actually impress someone in a position of influence. But equally, if you work with someone that you don't like, and they tend to be very unreceptive to your best efforts, not very acknowledging or encouraging, again, that kind of frozen kind of corporate world may be something that leaves you a little bit cold. But despite this, Venus does forge an amazing link with Jupiter as this week draws to a close. Because Jupiter's in quite a spiritual part of your situation, maybe your plans or your goals can be shaped by something that's to do with the non-tangible sphere. I know we think about Venus and Jupiter in terms of good fortune financially, and that could fall for you as the week draws to a close. But I feel that if you're seeing into how you can guide your future ambitions in a bit of a different way, it could be knowledge and insights that are just as valuable and lucky for you, but perhaps not at the current time. That said, Mars replaces the Sun in Pisces on Friday, and that thrust of Mars in the 10th house can be so valuable. So if you're needing to reorientate your goals and ambitions, make some moves around your employment or self-employment if you work for yourself or you have your own business, Mars is going to give you a lot of extra conviction and authority, which will last right through to the end of April. So that can be a really valuable asset for you. Of course, it's important with Mars in the 10th house to not seem that we only want things on our terms, but Mars in Pisces can flex a little bit because it's mutable, and we can stay a little bit sensitive with, but Mars gives you that extra self-belief, which will be great. But maybe, Gemini, it's going to be a case of who as much as what you know as this week unfolds, and as the Sun makes deeper progress into the sign of Aries. But being conscious of working or having a role in life that you find is uplifting and meaningful, and not being only focused on the status side of things, is really the big message of this week. And if you are in a role that's very unfulfilling, it may be that you're going to think the longer term and make some changes that really serve up opportunities for you down the track, but you can prime them up from now for long-term benefit.